welcome back. Today we're going through and working on getting a solenoid mounted for the water. So to start with, we just want to check and make sure that it's going to kind of work as intended. Make sure that, there being essentially 0 psi on it doesn't affect the use. We initially weren't getting any water, so essentially what we're doing here is we have the solenoid hooked up to the line input output of the tank and then to where it normally comes out. And then just have batteries or a cable going to the battery and just touching it. You can hear the clicking on and off. So the one thing we found that even without the solenoid, that you have to have a little bit of downfall.
Get it primed up to that point.
You know, and that's the whole. This thing needs to set
a little bit higher
up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really need a little bit more fall to get it to really work.
So there's no good way to just do that without making another piece, but that initial peak, because once you get it going, it seems like it's okay. So if you do that again, so where I'm holding it down here, where you have a little bit of down before you come back up. There you
go. Have the amazing flow.
Yeah. Just had to get that.
Yeah, so once we go going, it seems to work really well.
Once you have it, and you do something like so.
Because we want to mount it kind of in that area.
I think we ought to take, if we mount that as low as we can on here.
Yep.
And then, I don't know, put some blocks in there.
Yeah, I mean, we could just put some things.
Do that.
Yeah, I mean, we got strapped with a piece of poplar right there, we can cut it.
And then all we gotta do is put the wire in here.
Right. Which I got that nice wire out.
Yeah, I
set it by this. I know. But I just saying it's got the nice thing to where we can get it in and then hook the whatever I think it was accessory, which is the
I don't remember. All I know is one of them that we thought we were going to use for the laser was hooked to this.
Right. So it opens up whenever you push forward, and then whenever you're off, it closes.
The other thing, if we get this jacked up a little bit, whatever we fasten this to,
right, it won't be
rubbing on the side of this tank.
Right. Okay, so what kind of spacing do we have on holes there?
Inch and a quarter.
Okay. So we drill a couple holes.
And it could be. That could be whatever size lock nuts I have in the canvas. And then we'll wash her to it.
Right.
3/8 is the size of the hole. So like a 5/16 bolt with a lock nut would be okay.
Okay, so we're looking at replacing our hand valve here with a solenoid that opens and closes with the forward motion of the mill. So the accessory relay down here is tied to the debarker, and the debarker only turns on whenever this is bumped forward. So we are going to tie off of that into this accessory, use the ground in here, and put a solenoid mounted on the side of the tank here, so that whenever you bump this forward, it goes ahead and turns the water on, and then whenever you get to the end of your cut, whenever so it locks forward, it's on, and then you bump it off. Whenever you get to the end, it'll automatically turn off your water. One of those small things that, whenever you get to the end, you got to remember to turn that off. And just in trying to get it cleaned off and everything, it's one of those things that can be forgotten, and you end up, just with a mess of water on the ground. Just did a quick test, found that it seemed to work well. Didn't know with that type of valve if it would turn on or allow water with like basically zero water pressure, because we're going to be right at the same level as the tank, but it seemed to work just fine. So we're going to try to get that. The only thing we'll have to watch is there seems to be a fair amount of water that gets captured in it. So we'll have to be careful whenever we get to winter to make sure that that we get all the water out of it, so it doesn't freeze and break it. But that's the next thing we're doing, kind of enhance the mill. So initially whenever we bought it, that was tied. There was like I think a little valve that was in under here. Well, from this perspective, trying to reach this wasn't super convenient. So we put a magnet here and just mounted it on this, which was a lot easier. So whenever you're standing here, handle down, you can then turn this on and off pretty easily. So we're going to upgrade from that to the solenoid and see how it works, and just kind of one of those more convenient things than anything. Kind of like the laser, you know, it doesn't necessarily you know, speed things up a whole lot, just kind of convenience, make it so the water shuts off and not have to remember to shut this off and everything. So keep you posted on how that works. We'll feed into the wires probably through this one here, get inside the box, and then like I said, jump off the accessory here, and then there's a thing of grounds in the back that we'll connect to. And then we made just a little mount, a little U bracket that will hold the solenoid, that will mount on the side, and it'll be kind of open in air, so it shouldn't get too warm or anything. The one we bought said no more than 8 hours of continuous use, and like in this, you know, running through a log, if it's on for, you know, more than, you know, 5 minutes at a time, it would be a lot. You know, the only time it's going to have continuous use is whenever you go down, you have a cant and you're cutting like a whole bunch of 1-bys or 2-bys to where you're doing it repetitively, but you're always going to have that return that's going to, you know, be off. So so we don't have any concern with it being too hot for continuous use.
So I go ahead and start getting this worked out. So you can see the little U bracket, it's just a thin piece of metal, and then I was able to drill a hole on each side so that the fitting for the barb fitting would actually go through, and then attach it there, and then just drill a couple of holes that we could attach to this since there's already holes there. This is kind of an area where it's out of the way, has a little bit of downward fall from the container, and it's kind of in open air and everything, and close wire wise to go into the box.
Okay, now.
So I need to open up this front panel so we can get to it, and go ahead and have him unhook the battery just so that while we're in here,
Unhook the battery.
don't accidentally short anything out.
Actually, I'm doing that one.
Just don't accidentally short something out in here. Okay.
Yep, ground through there.
Let's see, all these I'm just going to put in a cup holder.
Well, I don't want to run the wire all the way over there and run it all the way back, so I think I'm going to puncture a little hole right here.
Okay.
And we need to get an approximate length. So let's say we're going to go all the way out to there.
Okay. I think go cutters. Okay.
There it is.
So this is the one we went in before. I don't know if there's any more room in that one. And that one's pretty full too.
How about this one back here?
I can't see that one. Oh, that one right there.
Is it full?
No, you should be able to sneak wire in that.
Because what I'm hoping to do is not cut myself.
Would be preferred.
Yeah, it's sort of my daily progress.
So it actually ends up being the one all the way on the right hand side, but either way we just double checked it before we hooked it up so that we just took the meter so that we
No, it's alright.
checked to make sure that we
The hand cam?
had
Yes.
voltage. So here, trying to feed the wire through initially, thinking that there may be enough room in that loom to get it pushed through, but just the wire is not solid enough, and end up having to use the fish tape to get it pushed through or pulled through.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe over there.
I need to be over there. That is correct.
What's the drill?
I got wrenched.
And the solenoid up here, we mounted up against the tray that holds the water. Trying to get into this main loom to not open up any more holes in the box, since this is already airtight. You just need to get it through, or watertight. So we just made a little spot here that you can get in, and then we can tape it up and then get into the box, and then once we're in, we can cut off any excess wire. This is a fairly full loom, and it's sealed. A lot of times there's a seam in it, and then you tape it. Well, this one didn't have a seam to where you can just open it up and stick this in, so you got to push it through. So we're trying to get it pushed through, and then once it's in the box, we can get connected to the relay.
So once we got the fish tape through, just pulled a small piece of wire through and then attached the wire that we actually wanted to get through with the wire, and you can see that there. So it's just a 2-wire piece, positive, negative, one for the ground, and then one to go to that relay to turn it on and off. On this specific solenoid, it doesn't matter which one's positive, negative, either way will work.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just have to check it out after we get it all hooked up and see. Okay.
Almost enough.
And then we'll have to hook the battery back up, because I'm not sure which one we're hooking it up to. You're gonna need that. Get over here. Because the ground, we can put back with that ground screw. Which I'll have to open this up for, I think. Is how we got to it. Maybe I got to it from the back. Does it stop on me? Maybe I'll just get my hand in there, just be a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I'd keep going. I'm gonna go get that pair of end snips so I don't want to take my knife back in there. I'll end up nicking something.
Right.
Um,
You can go ahead and take this off too, just because it'll open up access from the top to be able to reach right down.
okay.
So to be able to reach the ground there in the back, go ahead and just take the top off. And essentially what we're doing here is we got the wire stripped, got it cut, and then soldered just a small eyelet on the end of the wire. So have a Milwaukee soldering iron, which is really handy for kind of being in situations like this. We do have power there behind me, but having the battery operated one is nice. So on the negative, we're able to just get an eyelet put on and put it up, and then for the front we put an eyelet on and put a little bit of shrink tubing just so that it can't touch an arc, and then got the wire moved over there. We did check with the meter before we did it just to make sure that we had it correct on which one was the forward. Turn the power on with the forward, and once it was cooled down enough, get that put on. Just trying to get it fished through the box here so that it's in a good location and doesn't hit any of the other drum switches for the up, down, or forward reverse. Then once we're happy with all that, go ahead and get everything put back together. And then get the hose cut to length so that it is how we need it to be, as far as kind of getting it looped around the back of the engine and getting it to the solenoid, and then from the container to the solenoid. And then just double check, getting the battery hooked back up, that whenever you push the forward button, you have water come out.
Painless. There's actually this one over here not used that is on with this. So there must be something with another setup of this sawmill that whenever you get it optioned up, that this relay over here, so we just hook the wire to one side of the relay and then on the other side hook it to the ground. For this solenoid, it didn't matter which is which. We just have it mounted up there. Still kind of playing with. We have it mounted, or we put some boards there so it's a little bit lower, and then may have to change where that goes to allow a little bit more fall after it comes out of the solenoid, because right now it kind of comes up but then has gravity to get down to there. So we may have to play with that a little bit just to finesse it, but as of right now it seems to work well. We're going to get some of the black tubing to put that in, and then where it goes into the existing black tubing, we'll tape that up and get it kind of finished. So just a couple things to finish up on this to kind of just make a clean look, but it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Again, whenever you have the key on, if you listen, whenever you go forward, it turns that on, which allows water to come out over there, and then whenever you let off, it then shuts it off.
So this is after we had used it in an evening and didn't have any issues with it, so this setup seems to work well.
Yeah.
It's one of those simple things, but it makes it much nicer to not have to think about that and be able to have water going forward, but not all the time. So thank you for watching the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. Hopefully you found it kind of interesting seeing how we made that modification. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.